Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, live in our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation.
Fellow Ambazonians, help me first of all to welcome all members of government here present as part of my entourage, especially Honorable Cometa Elvis, Chairman of our Restoration Council. Dear sons and daughters of Bui, permit me also to recognize the following distinguished co-builders and trusted officials in our interim government who hail from the land of the warriors, the Bui County. Number one, my very able Vice President of Ambazonia, Dr. Ken Harrison Abongwa. My senior presidential advisor, Dr. Lambert. Secretary of State of the National Treasury, Mr. Richard Tangu. Deputy Secretary of State of Health and Social Services, Dr. Yaya Fonye. National Security Advisor and member of the Supreme Military Council of the Interim Government, Mr. Elvis. Director of Communications at the Presidency, Dr. Aisha Ann. And the Chairman of the Bui County, Shea Yimbo. As you can see, Bui is indeed my other home. The history of this great county will be incomplete without acknowledging its forebears, who laid the solid revolutionary foundation for our never-again generation. I'm thinking about the no-nonsense Von Binglo I, Honorable Lainjo, Professor Von Long, Sankey Maimo, Anthony Maimo, and those we still have alive with us today, such as Honorable Joseph Wilbur, Pa Dr. Jumbam. All these have laid for us the fiery footprints worthy of our emulation. Dear people of Bui, fellow countrymen and women, it is an honor once more to kickstart this 2021 Amber War Draft County by County Tour, otherwise known as the Amber War Tax, from the land of the warriors, the Bui Warriors. During my 2020 end-of-year address to the nation, I assured you that the distance we have covered in this liberation quest is far more than what lies ahead. I also told you that with the collective enthusiasm and generosity showed by the Ambazonian people during last year's war draft, this new year 2021 will be the first chapter of the conclusion of our story. As usual, our resolve was doubted by some naysayers, but today you can all see exactly what I meant. I feel at liberty to repeat these declarations today with greater confidence because I am counting on you and our Bui warriors, because I have never, ever doubted the will of our Ambazonia Restoration Forces. My resolve has been emboldened by the resilience of the people of this great county especially, and the ingenuity of our Ambazonia Restoration Forces who called me their Commander-in-Chief. My generals and commanders are assuring me daily by their bullish determination and unrivaled temerity that on their part, they will not fail Ambazonia. Here we are in 2021. The work of our collective, as directed by the interim government, in this struggle is no longer in songs of propaganda or social media imaginations. Even the blind can feel the heat. We have revolutionized the use of lava here in Bui. That has generated the storm that will soon cover the 43 100,000 square kilometer surface area in the months ahead. Thanks to your contribution, our national territory is now a vast graveyard for Paul Hitler Bia's genocidal thugs, the same thugs who only yesterday were the lords of life and death in our land, but are now haunted by our brave soldiers like game. Let us use this opportunity once more to pay homage to every Ambazonian hero who has fallen in battle, like our very own Field Marshal Chacha or General Mano Tiger, whose blood have paved the highway of our liberation and paid the full price for our God-given freedom. All hail our true heroes and heroines in the land of the beyond. Anytime our history shall be truly told to the next generation, this sad episode of today shall only be our night before dawn. Surely, a war monument shall be raised here in Bui in honor of the price your sons and daughters have paid towards our war of independence, and tears of patriotism will forever adorn that monument in a free Ambazonia for your immeasurable sacrifices for our collective freedom. Thank you, Bui County. May we dedicate a minute of silence in honor of Field Marshal General Chacha and all our fallen heroes with him. May the blood of our more than 30,000 innocent compatriots spilled on our land, Ambazonia, by the evil occupation forces of Paul Hitler Bia, speak curses against all Cameroon terrorist soldiers and make our own soil under their feet as slippery as a slippery slope to their land of no return. May their souls rest in peace. Fellow Ambazonians, we are here once more because of our commitment to accompany our valiant forces as they continue to defend the vulnerable, children, the elderly, and the women as they face the murder squads and the tanks of Paul Hitler Bia deployed in Ambazonia and Bui County in particular to commit mass genocide. For almost 5 years now, war leaders have mostly chosen to look away and allow French Cameroon to conquer us unto submission, to carry out with impunity all kinds of human rights abuses in Ambazonia. For 5 years now, France and some rich nations have shamelessly continued to lend the blood-sucking, insolvent criminal regime of Mr. Paul Hitler Bia billions of dollars to continue the massacre of our civilians until we surrender. We held peace plans in 2017 and marched. The Cameroon government responded with live bullets and helicopter gunships. The world looked away. In 2018, our brave people picked up rubber guns and then guns from their hunting shells to dare the barbaric forces whose appetite to take the lives of Ambazonians had been heightened by a 3-minute declaration of war by Paul Hitler Bia himself on November 30, 2017. The world looked away. From 2019, fighting back the enemy became our singular patriotic obligation. What else should victims do when defending? What else should victims do than defend themselves if no one is willing to stop the assailants? I figured we needed a solid structure in place with a viable war strategy. We conceived and adopted the Amber Peace Plan, which has proven its resilience. Later in 2020, we conceived the Amber War Draft, aka Operation Lava Storm, as the vehicle of our national strategic security plan, which is the strategy we needed to defend our helpless population. To all of you who ignored your doubts and defied the naysayers and drafted and paid your 2020 war draft last year, history will not forget your sacrifices. Today in 2021, our courageous community vanguards of yesterday are now full-blown warriors. We must continue to equip them to harvest more materials from those La République terrorist soldiers and insecurity forces. Those stubborn, brainwashed teenage soldiers sent by Etudi, who have refused to heed to my numerous appeals to leave Ambazonia, should expect their doom sooner than later. Let's outsmart the enemy. Let's pursue innovations. Let's retool our tactics and implement our strategy with deadly precision. Let us draft. Let us draft today and finish the job. Let us humble these Bulu Beti bullies. This has nothing to do with Sako. It has everything to do with choosing between freedom or perpetual slavery under French Cameroon murderers. Fellow Ambazonians, some have rather chosen to toy with the blood of our beloved compatriots who have perished in this senseless war declared on our people. They are gambling on what they think will be or will not be the final outcome of our endeavor. They think the world will never allow an independent Ambazonia. But they are mistaken, because Ambazonia does not depend on the world, does not depend on them. It depends on us. Our destiny in this struggle is in our hands. I know good friends who will not jump into a river to help you from drowning, but when you come out alive from that pool, I'm very sure they will not push you back into the water. They will give you a ride to your destination. And I believe that this is the attitude of most of our friends in the international community vis-a-vis our struggle. However, I pray God to also bring us helpers who can jump into the river to help us out. That answer to that prayer is not far away. My dear people of Ambazonia, from the savannah zone of Bui County, Ngoketunja, Ndongamantung, Menchom, Boyo, to the midland zone of Manyu, Libialem, Momo, and Mezam, down to the equatorial zone of Ndian, Meme, Fako, and Kupe Wanenguba. The enemy is breathing hell in our territory. The enemy is significantly demoralized and demotivated. The momentum of this war is on our side now. I came here to ask for your draft again, because when the enemy is confused and slowing down and going back to their drawing table, it is time to accelerate to freedom. We have come a long way, but imagine how much more, how much better we could have been today if all Southern Cameroonians put aside the politics of power and division and supported the vision of our interim government. Imagine how much more progress we would have made. Instead, the progress you see today has been the result of fighting La République with one hand, because we are using the other hand to remove barriers erected by haters who have vowed to stop Sako as if a free southern Cameroons will be renamed the Federal Republic of Sako. Please, Ambazonians, you don't have to like the interim government. But if what you desire is the restoration of our independence, join this interim government. Join your local government. I can assure you, on the blood of all our fallen heroes, that the interim government will not disappoint Ambazonia. Imagine where we will be next, by next year, if our detractors, for the sake of the big picture, gave Bui all the support you need today. What a distance we will cover in record time. But let's assume you and your family are in a certain flight piloted by Dr. Sako, and someone on board starts beating up passengers. If you had the ability and the power and the strength, will you try to stop him? Or will you let the violent individual to do his worst just because you don't like the pilot? Let me call out all those who have fallen through the cracks of offenses or lost in the labyrinth of mistakes and poor judgment. Please, dust yourself up and come back home. Come back to the house. Because we are all humans. Pick up your wallet again and start by drafting today. Please, Ambazonians, we in this interim government, we care less about who takes the credit now. Because even if you give us all the credit today and we lost the war tomorrow, all we have done as a collective will have no value. Imagine where we would have been if only 25% of our people of Southern Cameroon descent at home and in the diaspora, about 2 million people, find ways to support our liberation war, financially and materially, in secret or in the open, knowing that the destiny of our future as Ambazonia depends on a victorious outcome in this war of independence. Dear compatriots, inasmuch as we regret what could have been done and where we could have been if there were no ifs, we should be reminded that a liberation war is an obstacle course. It is dirty, tough, and exhausting. Let it be known that with few or with many, we shall cross the finish line. With or without you, we should cross the finish line. Running or crawling, dead or alive, Ambazonia must be independent. All we need from you is to give your 110% today as we draft, like the Bui warriors have shown us for an example. Tonight, our ancestors are watching us from the world beyond to see what we will do in times like this. Let us draft in a manner that sends goodbye chills down the spine of Paul Hitler, Mbi Vondobia, and his French Cameroon state terrorists. Let us draft to support our dreaded Bui warriors. You may have already drafted and paid in full, like myself, but today is a special day to say a big thank you to the Bui warriors. If you like what you are seeing on Ground Zero, give Bui warriors another $1,000. You heard me well. I mean another $1,000. And let us shorten this journey. Also, remember our presidential basket, which funds our National Stabilization Fund to support efforts in all 13 counties while the draft goes on. I appeal to all Ambazonians and friends of Ambazonia who have accompanied me here today to generously support the Bui County to respond appropriately to the French Cameroon marauders in tanks who have planned the massacre, the mass murder of our innocent mothers and children. Let's talk with our wallets so the Ambazonia Restoration Forces can talk with their mayes and their chachas. Let us make a nonsense of the $1.4 billion France is giving to La République du Cameroon to accelerate their war on our people. Let the draft of Bui County 2021 begin. Viva the great warriors of the Bui County. Viva our brave Ambazonia Restoration Forces. Viva the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. God bless Ambazonia. Thank you.